What up, Pittsburgh Steelers fans? It is your boys, TDU Boys, Matty Peveril and Marky D. Marky D, how are you going as we go live in our Easter special?
Mate, I'm doing pretty good. I think I'm a Pirates fan now, by the way. Pirates are 5-2. Yeah, I think I just
you're a bandwagoner.
Yeah. Well, mate.
Actually, I had to lay off. I laid into your last show.
You really did. But maybe that's a karma that I had, because also another quick story before we start the show. I got into a bit of a Twitter heat because I called Eagles bandwagon fans. Now let me set the premise, because in Australia right now they designate the Rams to be the host team for our country for some reason, and NFL Australia said, Rams and Eagles fans, here's a competition for you to win a third round pick, a chance to announce at the draft. And I was like, well, what about the other 29 teams or whatever, right? Or 30 teams? Why don't they get a chance? And I called the Rams and Eagles bandwagoner fans. Then one bloke came out of the woodwork and said, went out, started going off at me. And I was like, all I did was call your team in Australian fans, your bandwagoners, and they just went crazy. So maybe I am a bandwagon Pirate fan, but I enjoy the energy, man. That's two stories in one, but I enjoy the energy.
It's cool. No, it's cool. Yeah. It's cool. So we got to do a show a bit different today. I mean, look, news of the week: the Steelers finally signed Keanu O'Neal to his contract. It's like, I think it's like $2 million, $1 million bonus. Then they signed the defensive tackle. They signed an assistant coach that I'm seeing people trying to overanalyze. To me, all it screams is they're hedging their bets with Canada and making sure Pickett's development continues, even if Canada has a bad year. I like it. Mark, before we get into our Easter special, was there anything else that caught your eye this week that you wanted to,
There's one thing actually I find kind of comical. There was a publication out there saying that there is executives want to trade away James Daniels. I was like, why do you want to trade away?
I've seen a bit of that over the last 48 hours, I must say.
I don't understand that. Like, why do you want to trade one of your best linemen and then have another hole to fill?
I think they talked about $8 million, and if they feel they're going to get someone in the draft, like once draft day starts, particularly between day 1 and day 2, I do get where they're coming from if they don't move the pick 32. If you got, like, put it this way, if you got a late second, or if you got a 3 and a 4 for James Daniels, and let's say we've drafted like a Steve Avila, who have been talking about Steve Avila for since week 1, before the season started last year, week 1 of the college football season, and the Steelers bring him for a visit, so I'm thrilled about that. But if you get someone like that, well then, and you brought in Ciamalo, and then you've brought in like Herbig as well, and you do have Kevin Dotson. I mean, $8 million is a bit of money you can save there. Like, I don't know. I'm just saying, I don't see why they would do it. I don't think it makes a heck ton of sense. But if it's done in the right way, okay. But also, James Daniels is pretty cheap going forward. Like, I don't know why, you're gambling on that draft pick then to turn out Dotson leaves next year. Like, I still think I would rather just trade Dotson and have the best offensive line we possibly can. So.
Well, to me, I was more thinking just as a player in a skill set and how he played last year, and I thought he played really good for the offense and made it better. And I'm thinking, why would you want to trade away one of your players?
Unless they know something that we don't about his play, like they expected him to do better than what he did. Although he certainly had a bounce back year. Didn't he have an ankle niggle for a while there? I don't remember what it was that. Whether that's played up. That's if he's got one. Something in my mind says he had an ankle niggle. I don't know.
But they all still started like 99% of the snaps, all of those 5. So I know, even though that Dan Moore gets a bit of a bad rap too, but I still think he's getting better. And I think
look, I don't know how it sort of sits. I thought that one thing I did find interesting was that I heard how many teams should be really in for a quarterback. There were, like, Mike Florio was talking about 26 teams shouldn't be in for one. And the 26 teams should be in for one, and 6 teams only have guaranteed guy. And he didn't label the Steelers as one of the teams that was guaranteed. It's like the Steelers are never going to, even if Pickett had an average year, the Steelers are not, after drafting a quarterback last year, number 1, can only give someone 1 season. Like, I just thought it was like a silly thing. But I also thought to myself, he was talking like rattling things off quick fire. Like, I don't think he sat there and deeply thought about who these, he just labeled like Mahomes and Burrow and, Josh Allen. Like he labeled the top 6 guys basically. So, I don't know. Like I'm not.
But to me, it makes no sense with the Kenny stuff. It's like, even if he plays poorly all year, they're going to play him. They're going to play him every game they can until he can't play. And then in the third year, if he's still bad, then maybe they address it. But that's not going to happen. He's going to play maybe average to good, but not like average to poor and go backwards.
Yeah, I'm not too worried about that.
All right. Yeah, it makes no sense. Kenny's here to get better every single game and see what happens. And there's no controversy about Mitchell starting with competition. If I see any competition, I'm going over to Pittsburgh myself, and I'm going to go rattle Mark Madden. Give Mark Madden a stunner or someone, because there's no competition right now. It's Kenny's team, and he's going out to Florida and working.
No, I don't even listen to that Mark. Like that Mark Madden guy is just toxic. You know what? I don't want to have to tag explicit on the video. All right, so we're going to do an Easter special. So we're going to do, Mark and I are thinking about how we can do this. We're going to do a favorite. We're going to do an Easter egg hunt, right?
Mm-hmm.
So Mark and I are going to go by position, and live chat obviously jump in as well. There's obviously there's the regulars are in there now, which is good. I noticed that notifications came through like a minute and a half after we started, so I don't know what's going on in YouTube. Maybe they're taking an Easter long weekend as well. But for those also that are, religious, obviously it's Good Friday. So, all those, good wishes and thoughts and all that good stuff, given it's Easter. So we thought we'd do an Easter egg hunt. So we're going to go by position. I'm going to start with the offense first. And what we're going to do is Mark and I are going to try and guess each other's favorite Steelers player at a position. Oh, Cody, Shield 91's in the live chat. Hey, mate.
Cody, you running, mate? He's always running, that bloke, isn't he?
Yeah, he's running. So we're going to go by position. We're going to try and guess each other's one. We're going to try and get through it quite quick. There's like 12 or 13 spots. So we're going to do quarterback, O-line, wide receiver, tight end, running back, defensive line, linebacker, outside linebacker, safety, cornerback, and then we're going to pick one special teamer for each one. So yeah, and then Barley says, "Wish in the live chat, wish I could catch you guys live. Ran to the bathroom while out with the fam to dinner. We'll check the replay." Oh, thanks, mate. That's awesome.
Should tell wherever you are in the bar, if it's somewhere in a restaurant with a TV, just tell them to put us on the TV. Go ask for Steelers TDU on up in the bar.
No, he might be out to one of those like super fancy restaurants. There's no TVs,
Why can't we be there? We can be there. We can help out the diners.
They plug us in. He plug us into the AV system, into the Sonos. Two larrikins. There we go.
Cody said he's been longboarding, man. He's out there. Isn't he out Cali way? He's out longboarding the.
What does this mean? Like I say, put melted Twix bars in the Browns Easter eggs.
Yeah, he doesn't like Twix, eh? Twix aren't that bad.
Twix are good. I don't know about that.
Yeah, okay. Come on, Brian Brown. You've got better takes than that, mate.
He's making a quick tip on Ike Taylor for corner. That's an interesting one. Okay, we'll see. You'll have to see. All right, so let's get into it. Mark, we're going to start with quarterback. You go. You guess my favorite quarterback.
So I'm guessing yours, right?
Yeah.
It has to be Big Ben. Is it not?
Really?
No way. For you or for me?
No, you got to guess my one.
Yeah, for you, it's Big Ben. Surely he's the best quarterback we've ever had. Oh, controversial take right here. Look out. Controversy.
Okay. I've never actually been asked the question before. So, how this? If I ask who the more influential quarterback is for our franchise, it's going to be Bradshaw every time. If I'm asked for the quarterback who I felt the safest with, I would like to win a game, it's probably Ben.
But
if I ask the quarterback that I felt most lively watching, it has. I don't. This sounds crazy, people, but it has been Pickett. Look, it is Ben. But it's not Ben by like a country mile. It's.
So
I would rather say I don't even have a favorite, if that makes sense.
So we even in our favorites, we're even including current players now.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
didn't even,
You pick any player existing
Oh.
play today. If you want to pick someone in the 1930s because you
because
found tape of that
I didn't
time.
even think about Kenny Pickett. I was more thinking
And
Big
I'm not
Ben.
saying like I know that sounds ridiculous because he's played one season. I know it sounds ridiculous from people because I was born like over a decade after Terry Bradshaw retired. But like I've watched a lot of those old games. I kind of like the way like he was always in it. Like I'm just saying, yeah, you're right on Ben. It's just not a
So who's your bloke? You got Terry.
no. I'll say it's Ben, but it's not Ben by like a country mile.
Oh,
But for you,
okay.
it's definitely Ben Roethlisberger.
Oh yeah, big time.
Yeah,
Big
100%.
time.
Yeah,
But Kenny can change that in 2 seasons. It's easy. It can change that in 2 seasons. Like you said with Aaron Rodgers, I didn't like him, but if he was a steal, I would have liked him. Same with Big Ben. Big Ben was somebody else, I would have hated his guts because he was that Big Ben ego swag. But for me, in mine, it's quarterback Big Ben. It's probably my favorite. But then I do feel like a tiny percent of 5% saying, well, Kenny could be the guy if he starts to go off and really turn this team around again. Ooh. So we both got Ben for that one.
Yeah, we both got Ben. Both
Okay.
Ben.
Okay.
All right. So how about we'll go O-line. I didn't split this between guards and tackles. But if you wanted to go if you wanted to name a guard and tackle, you can. But I just basically was happy to just bundle it.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of the O-line. They're like the forgotten players, aren't they? I'm trying to think in the last. I do like the play of DeCastro. I think he's
Yeah,
up there.
that's what I mean. That's why I started saying 2 because I was like, oh, maybe I want DeCastro.
So he was guard, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. If I'm gonna say anyone and not to spur on the moment too long, I'd probably say him. I think he was up there playing for us, but played for 9 years, always solid, six Pro Bowls.
Yeah.
I think he was up there. Yeah, I'll probably say him.
I'd say Alejandro Villanueva for me.
Yeah, he was good too, wasn't he?
And I like the
solid.
story, the patriot that he is, obviously of the country, not the player.
Big
Obviously, it
Al.
wasn't great that he finished at the Ravens, but I mean, he probably should have retired, really. It's hard as well. Like, this is where I feel you show your age a little bit, like in what you've been able to see and watch football of. Brian Brown talks about Wolfley and Tunch. Everything since I've gone back and seen stuff, like definitely Faneca, like you look back and you're like, oh yeah.
I forgot about Faneca.
I thought you were going to say Faneca. I thought you were going to say Faneca.
I was trying to think. I'm looking at the roster now.
Pouncey as well. There was you look back on even like the guys like Max Starks and that sort of stuff. Like it is interesting, but yeah, I think for me, I just like the Villanueva story. Like he was in the military and then he was going to be a tight end and then they converted him, and I just like that story.
Yeah, I've got the roster up now from the previous years because on the spot I couldn't think of it. So I'm probably going to say Faneca's up there too. He was one of the first ones I started watching back in the day and just really like just a menace, dude. He was just one of the most physical blokes out there, right? Not mucking around. So, and he played 10 years, did he not? Like 10 years, something like that?
Yeah, something like that. Might have been 12 because he played for the Cardinals as well.
That's right. He played 206 games. So, yeah, Faneca's definitely up there. Played from 1998 to 2010. Wow. Yeah, there you go. So is that 2? We're just doing 2 on the O-line?
Yeah. Well, I'm going to say you go your favorite. I mean, it's got to be your favorite. So I'm doing Villanueva for me.
Yeah, I do like that too. But
if he played one more year, I probably would have ended up with his jersey. It was like he didn't I was like on the precipice of buying one, and then he left.
But the O-line's tough because there's so many players on the actual O-line.
So I wanted to get a Villanueva salute to service. I thought that would have been really cool.
He played didn't he play 5,000 snaps in a row or something like that? Or
it's ridiculous. No, it was 7. I thought it was 7,000.
Yeah. Yeah. And he was like the unsung hero, right? No one, he was just the guy that was there. No one really gave him too much praise, did they?
Yeah, 100%. All right, so we'll go wide receiver. Who's your favorite wide receiver? Although I gotta guess.
Oh yeah.
It's Hines Ward. Over AB before he went nuts. It's Hines Ward.
No, it's not actually Hines Ward. I know that sounds funny, but it might be. I guess in this era, I don't want to say because I'm saying with hesitancy. Probably AB before he went nuts.
Yeah, that was my first.
Yeah.
I said that. I said that.
AB was something different, man. He was something. He was something to watch, and then it all fell apart. And now he's doing put that S on. You know what I mean? It's just gone crazy. So I've got his jersey and I saw the Immaculate Extension. He was a fantastic player. Like, he was an amazing player. No one could do what he did. There's that catch against Green Bay where you're like, oh my goodness, right? But yeah, probably AB before he went nuts. But now there could be players out there like a Pickens that could take over that role very, very soon. What about you? Do you want me to guess yours?
Yeah, I guess mine. I don't think you're gonna get it. But
it's not like back in the days, like a Lynn Swan.
Ooh,
not far back.
Oh.
What's the other bloke? What's the other bloke's name? I thought the other one.
It's the other one. Yeah, it's John Stallworth.
Stallworth, right? Why is it Stallworth?
Why? And it's funny. Obviously, I didn't grow up in that era. Every game old game I've gone back and watched. I've gone back and watched a few. And then I've watched his like A Football Life like a million times. The one that he's in there with Lynn Swan, the highlights. I like the guy. Like, the guy played from 22 to 35. He was always happy to be the partner in crime with Lynn Swan. He had 63 TDs at a time when running the football was big. You know, he was a classic wide receiver. Like, he could go up and get the football. He could run that. He could run routes decently. He was a possession catcher, like a possession receiver. To me, he was like Keenan Allen modern day, right? Kind of replicates with Stallworth. And I've always liked Keenan Allen's game. I just like watching him play. Like, I just think he's really, really good. That's why I'm so excited for Pickens. If Juju was still here, it would be hard to say no Juju. Look, I love everything Hines represents, but if I had to pick one, like I had to pick, like as we're having to do today, yeah, it's Stallworth. I just like him. He sounds like a good guy. He's a Steeler. I just like the guy.
The only thing for me is I can't go that far back, even though I know there's super legends. Like, I won't probably choose a Mean Joe Green, but I know he's the best because I have no connection to that. That's, you know what I mean?
This is the thing. It's just that, like, when I've watched Stallworth play, particularly even like when you watch like highlight reel after highlight reel and different things he's doing, you're like, and he was kind of like almost played like a flex tight end in some ways when you look back on how they're used today. Like, I watch him and I'm like, man, he would have been my favorite player if I was a kid.
Wow, how tall was he? Because I also remember
it was
6'2". I also remember him and Lynn Swan doing that cool little handshake they always show in the films. You know,
man, can you imagine being in like the 70s? The Steelers have won the 1 or 2 playoffs, and you got those two out in the field, and you got Terry Bradshaw as the guns. Like, you go to every game, and the possibilities are endless. I don't know. It's just maybe someone who's seen it as well is like, oh my god, it wasn't that cool. But to me, it looked damn cool. So that's it.
It's all right. Well, that's one of our first like legend players we picked. That's good to know.
All right, let's move to tight end.
Oh, well,
you got to guess my favorite tight end.
I'm trying to think of the other ones. We can't both have the same answer, can we? That everyone cheers out in the crowd. I got to say Heath. No. What's it? I can't even remember any other tight ends.
It was, and it's been taken over. I'm a mood.
I keep forgetting the current Steelers. Yeah, I keep forgetting the current Steelers. That's the problem. Okay.
So I had high hopes for Ladarius Green. That was obviously misguided. But Miller was way before, like before we drafted Pat Freemuth. It was a slam dunk. But I've always been high on Freemuth before the Steelers picked him. I had money on the Steelers picking him. I've loved everything he's done. I always talk about him. I want the Steelers to pay him when he comes up for, like, I do think he's worth a top contract. I do think he's a top 5 tight end. I just like watching him play. To me, it's just, to me it's Freemuth. But for you, obviously, it's Heath Miller.
Yeah, I gave mine away in my questioning of.
Well, it's hard not to. But before Muth, is there really a tight end that did anything for the Steelers? Not really.
Not that I can really remember on the spot, but like going back. But Heath for me is like when I was growing up watching football, and he was just a bloke that did the hard nosed stuff. Everything he did was physical.
As I said, like this doesn't have to be the best ever. It's just like who do you like watching? Like if you're picking your Steelers all time team, like who are you picking?
Yeah, to me it's probably Heath Miller. Like, I think what he did for the Steelers and just getting that stadium so energized, and he was always reliable, and
Yeah.
Big Ben ran around for 7 seconds and he found Heath. You know, it was a bit like Heinz Ward where it was always getting open, you know.
I think the thing that I love about Freemuth too is that all the old players like him. Like he had a special relationship with Franco because of the Penn State thing. Ben talks about him being a classic. Like Ben was talking him up to James Harrison. Like, oh, you would have liked him. He works hard in the weight room. Like I like what Freemuth to me is like this mix of old and new about the like and what's new and the old and new in the NFL game. So and I just love what he does with those combat catches. So cool. All right, let's go to running back. I'm gonna guess your favorite running back, and I'm gonna say AB before he went nuts.
AB running back?
Oh, I mean, Le'Veon Bell. Sorry.
No, I've actually. No, you know what? My kind of like my favorite running back.
Fast Willie Parker.
Yes, but no.
Yeah. No,
it is, but okay. It's like, it's weird to say. Yeah, it probably is Fast Willie Parker, or Jerome, or Amos Zeraway.
No. You get one pick.
This is the hardest exercise ever in the world. Oh man.
Just if we went on and played like Madden right now, and you're playing Steelers historical team, and you can roster pick anyone. Which also, why doesn't Madden do that? Why can't you just pick? They should have a history mode where you can pick all-time greats from your team. I know there's custom rosters, but there should be one where you can pick all-time greats.
Yeah, I'd probably say Parker. I think even when I was growing up too, watching the game as well, watching him run the football was fantastic. How fast he was, just a good human being. And you know he's related to Joe and Warren somehow?
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know that till 2 days ago. So yeah, probably Parker, man. In that 75-yard run is, I think, still maybe.
That's what I mean. That's why, because I feel like for you, it's that.
And Faneca didn't Faneca open that hole up in that space there. It's to me, it's the 2004, 2008. Probably all my players, really. They're probably all my players. But I do like the bus. But yeah, he's my bloke. But let me guess yours.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go out on a limb here and say Rocky Blyer.
Oh, that's a good one. As much as I fully respect everything Blyer did, and I've talked to you about Blyer before, because I think the guy playing, going into the military, going to war, coming back, playing with like more than 20 pieces of shrapnel in his body, like just incredibly tough dude. But no, it's the bus. I mean, the bus just gets me going, man. The bus is, I've got his football sign behind me. Like, it's got to be the bus. Like,
what's the best thing about the bus you like about his gameplay, or like, you know, his you know, overall being, or how he's on the field
with a smile on his face?
Yeah, it's true.
Do you know what I mean? And to me, he's a good guy at the game. Like, you hear him talk about it after, and he's talking about players. He's not got a negative word to say about something. Like, I love that about him. I love that, like, he kept going. He just, those clips where he's just going through and there's snow and sleet and he's just still going, and he's got guys hanging off him. And, like, I love that relationship in a way where, what was he? He was 35 when they lost in the playoffs. What was it, in the 15-1 season? And then Ben asked him to come back. I think he was 35 that year, and he came back at 36. And he, like, you know, early to start that season, if you go back and look at the stats, he didn't do a lot. Like, I just love what ultimately he did for that team. I love that he got the Super Bowl, and I don't know if the Steelers, without him on that roster, would have won the Super Bowl that year. Do you know what I mean? Like, I think there was this mentality of the bus and doing it for the bus and the bus.
But that's when Parker was coming alive too. So it was the good 1-2 punch.
That's what I mean. Like, and I think that's what's exciting about this Steelers team, because we've kind of got like a bit of that in Warren and Najee, but we also could add a speed guy. And if we add a speed guy, like, what is that? You know, this team could do some pretty incredible things. So, yeah, I would just say that's my guy there in Bettis. All right, I'm going to throw you a bone. You can name one extra player on offense as a flex player.
On offense. Okay, I've gotten slack for this before, but hear me out. Darius Hayward-Bay.
I get that.
Are we doing teams later? You know why?
We are, but you're only getting one teamer, and I know how many teamers you like.
You know why? You know why I'm doing Darius Hayward-Bay? because he came in and he did the role that no one really does, which plays gun, and he played like third or fourth receiver, and it worked for the Steelers in his career, right? That's why I like him. He was a first overall round dude, with the Raiders, and he didn't have that ego behind him. And there was a really good pass from Big Ben to Darius Hayward-Bay for like 40 yards. It was fantastic.
Yeah.
Into the end zone. I was like, wow. So
I thought you were gonna say I can never say his last name. The other one starts with an H, the other returner wide receiver. Hushman. I can't say it. I sound bad when I say it.
Hushmanzada, isn't he a Bengal? Which one?
Who was the guy that did the Didn't we?
A Steeler? Hushmanzada.
No, not Hushmanzada. I'm having a mental blank.
Ah.
Who's the guy? I told you I wasn't feeling well today before we got in there. I'm just
all right.
Anyways, I've got like brain fog. I'm like,
well, backtrack. Yeah. So like to me, Darius Hayward-Bay played a good role for the Steelers. That's what I'm trying to say. That's why I like him. That's why I think to me he's like the extra guy. But we didn't do fullback. You don't want to do fullback?
Well, we can do a fullback if you want to.
Well, then in saying that, then you have no one in your mind.
It's not Derek Watt.
No.
Well, the thing is, Bettis, if you look at the traditional, if you look at the way people line up today, you said Bettis is a lineup at fullback at times. So.
Oh, were you thinking of Randall L as the other one?
Yeah, that's who I was thinking of.
Yeah, he's good too, man.
I don't know why that came out.
I probably could have chosen
Randall L. How did I muck that? Honestly, it's been a very.
All right, so I'm gonna let me try and guess one of yours. So an extra offensive piece. Oh boy.
Oh, they say Chris Fuller. That's a good call.
Yeah, was it Fuller? I can't pronounce his name. Fui down the middle. He was good too.
Yeah.
This is probably the hardest question to figure out. It's an extra piece on the offense. Martavius Bryant?
Nah, it's Heinz Wood, man. No, it's Heinz Wood. I gotta go receiver of what? Yeah, watched a lot of. No.
Damn.
I can't believe Randall L. How did I?
He was.
It was all L playing the same time. I'll give myself a bit of bad brain fog this morning. All right, let's move to the
defense. This is everything. Mine will be from 2004 to 2008. Yeah. Probably no one else.
So all right. Defensive line. Well, he's not. So it's not linebacker.
You need to pronounce Daredevil's name there.
Casey. I reckon he was this big snack for defensive line.
Which position we doing though?
Marfala. Huh?
Which position we doing? We doing just one out of the three positions?
Well, I'm just going D end or defensive tackle. So yeah, I'm gonna say.
Well, I've got two. Then I would probably say Big Snake's up there, but I'd probably say my favorite on the D line is probably Kiesel.
Ooh,
you know what I mean? But he played the end.
I like that.
I
like that.
And I think I already know yours.
Yeah, who's mine?
Cameron Hayward.
Yeah.
Because he's like I said, the old school, new school Steeler. Like dead set.
I love that you picked that. I love that that's the I think Kiesel's so underrated. I definitely agree with that one.
Devil says we'd kill his last name somehow. Probably, yeah. I don't know, dude. It's very hard for
that's a really hard question though. I think some of the Steelers. Yeah, okay. Yeah, but it is. It's Cameron Hayward. It's not and I'm waiting till he retires now, and then I'm probably gonna get the jersey with the sleeves cropped and stuff like that. I'm gonna go all out with Cam Hayward. But yeah, he's my favorite. I hate the thought of him going to another team. So Ron Jeremy grabbing Vegemite sandwiches.
Look at it.
I actually had so for Americans that don't like Vegemite, don't listen to Mark. He hates it anyway. But I had Vegemite grilled cheese yesterday, and if you don't really like Vegemite, it's actually a nice way of having a Vegemite, of eating it. Grilled cheese, very salty grilled cheese, beautiful.
Or just have grilled cheese, no Vegemite.
You can
Daredevil's name is Afelji. Dude, I have no idea, to be honest.
Huh?
Daredevil said in the chat, he said, you guys will kill my last name. Then Brian Brown said it's not Devil.
Affleji? I don't know.
Affleji?
All right, linebacker.
Inside or outside?
We can do either to start. I do have both on the list.
All right, let me try and guess yours first.
Inside or outside?
I'll try and guess inside linebacker. I think yours would be Shazier. Maybe. No, maybe not. Not with that reaction.
I love that you said maybe.
Wait.
You're so confident. You're like, maybe. Oh, that cracks me up.
I started to think about all the old dudes because you're going back to the old Steelers now too. So
yeah.
Hang on,
I do like the old dudes.
Let me have
Lambert to me is like the definition of a linebacker. But the schematics, it's kind of it's a different game than the Steelers played more of a 4-3. Yeah, I would have to say Shazier, to the point where I'm super realistic with Madden, right? So if a guy leaves the Steelers, he leaves my team, right? But when Shazier got injured, they still had him on the roster for for a few years after that, while the Steelers paid him out his contract. And I'd always play with Shazier, so.
You won't get mine. I know the player you want to say, but you won't get mine for middle linebacker. I don't think you will.
So it's not the player that
not the player that you think you want to say. This is great for podcasts.
Yeah,
but it's a different player at middle linebacker.
Well, so for everyone, a couple of years ago now, for Mark's birthday is Christmas Eve. So for Mark's birthday, I got him a cameo from James Farrier, right? So that's where that story is. I think it's Lawrence Timmons.
Damn, it is Lawrence Timmons, man. He's one of my favorites.
I know you love Farrier, but I also know how much you love Lawrence Timmons. It's like I really like. Actually, I'm not going to finish that sentence because
when he was
linebacker, but there's an outside linebacker I like that I don't really talk about that most people be like, oh, you really like him? Yeah.
Oh, hang on.
So
hang on, let me get to that in a minute because me or Lawrence Timmons, I just like his work ethic and the way he played the game was just.
Yeah, I know. That's right. That's right. That's why.
And he vomited in Miami, and that was funny as. So,
all right, so there we go. I got that one though. That was good.
I know, because Oh man. Okay, so wait. So you're saying no one knows about your favorite outside linebacker?
Oh, it's very hard to go past TJ, but I'm just saying the guy that I would have as a very close second. I don't really talk about him, so most people would be like, really?
Got it, Lamar Woodley.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. You nailed that shit, mate.
You know what this shows? You and I have done too many podcasts together. We've been doing this.
I nailed that.
This is.
We've talked about him being one of the most underrated Steelers, I think, in Pittsburgh Steelers
correct
history.
100%.
That made up that team.
Yeah.
There's no way you get mine.
Kevin Green.
Kevin Green. It's Debo. Debo, mate.
Of course it's Debo.
I love Debo.
Of course it's Debo. I know. I just wanted to move you up. I had to. Yeah, I had to do that, man. I had to do that.
Those were the two blokes, though. But you're right, because Woodley was so underrated and wasn't taken care of, and Debo did his hard work, but he was so needed for that team. I think for
Woodley too is that Woodley, if you look at the schematics, these listed as an outside linebacker, but he kind of played defensive end, and he was kind of like a mix between, this just, and the way that all the guys at the time talk about Woodley as well, I think it's just, the guy had 58 sacks in his career, and he got one in his last 2 years. He's underrated.
He definitely, and he was back there picking on Flacco, picking on the Bengals. It was fun to watch, and he was a part of that Super Bowl run as well, right? So, and he was opposite Debo. So, and he won't go to the Hall of Fame. That's the thing. He won't be up there. Maybe he hasn't got the stats for it, but he won't be anywhere near that. No one really talks about him, but he was definitely.
It's a shame. I feel like if he'd gotten another 10 to 12 sacks, maybe if he'd stayed the Steelers and finished his career there, maybe he would have.
Where did he go? Did he go Arizona too?
No? Yeah, but he went to Oakland for a year in between that.
Okay.
Yeah,
he's a good player, man.
But that's the thing. People forget. It's like right now with TJ and Highsmith. Like people forget with everything Debo was doing, how important it is to have someone on the other side that the offense has to still think about, like that in blocking them. So that's cool. I like these ones. All right, we're gonna go safety. I don't want to give you that out of having two safeties. We can do that. We can go down that route if we want to. But Mark, I'm gonna say your favorite safety is Troy Polamalu.
It is, but I was gonna say, should we not have allowed Troy to be there? Because wouldn't he be yours too?
He is mine. Well, we can have the same favorite.
But I think it's everyone's favorite. Troy's Troy. Troy's amazing. Troy's unbelievable.
I don't think, but look, I would say there'd be people out there that go, Minka's pretty good, right?
Oh, I forgot about Minka. I keep forgetting the new blokes.
And then it's funny because Rod Woodson was a cornerback, obviously. Like, it's a hard one. So,
So when Troy was playing, right, who was the guy next to him? Mostly it was Ryan Clark, right? Who else was next to him?
It was
there was somebody else too.
Doing it on a day when I'm having brain fog.
Look, someone
rat crap is not.
Oh, was it Chris? No, Chris Hope was 2005.
I'm just pulling up. I had the 08 Steelers up just before.
When did Troy come in?
2002.
Chris Hope was in there for a little bit.
Yeah, and then there wasn't there not the day Marky D. Right? Well, Ryan Clark was there through all those Super Bowl runs. So yeah, he came in 03. He did come in 03.
Okay. Well, that's the best pairing really we saw with those two was Ryan Clark and Troy, and then that allowed Troy to be Troy. He could just go and do whatever he wanted to. So yeah, he's probably my favorite. Like he's my second favorite still. I've got Debo, then I've got him.
There was another guy though. You've probed that on me now. Who was the guy who was there toward the end of his career after Clark left?
Like 2009 or 2010?
No, Clark was still there then.
When did Clark leave?
He left in 2011, I think. Just pulling that up.
Still there in 2012, 2013.
Yeah, so he left in 2013. He went to Washington after that. I mean, he was there 06 to 13. I mean, he was really Troy partner. Yeah.
It's Mike Mitchell there, but he wasn't good in coverage.
They had another guy they rotated through that when you look back on some highlights, you're like,
was it Will Allen? I don't know.
Anyways, might have been Allen. I just remember seeing someone else that wasn't Clark and then line up next to Polamalu, and I remember thinking, oh, that's an interesting dynamic. They look like they play well. So anyway, whatever. All right, let's go to cornerback.
Well, someone already alluded to what they guessed yours was in the comments. I think it was saying that yours might have been Mike Taylor. That's up there. But this is a hard one because there's so many different corners you can probably choose and think about getting. Oh, man. I'll
tell you who it's not. It's not Joe Hayden.
Yeah, true.
I was furious that he retired Brown.
Who would Matty choose for his favorite cornerback in the Pittsburgh Steelers history?
And I found this hard, to make this decision. By the way,
actually, I don't even know my favorite, so I wouldn't even guess if I was you.
That's what I mean. Like it's kind of hard. Yeah.
So if you guess, and it'll be like, okay, that would do. I don't know. I want to say Ike Taylor, but I think there's probably some other guys that I can probably bring up besides Ike Taylor. Then, I got it.
Yeah.
Sorry, you go. Well, I've got mine, but I don't know yours.
Artie Burns. I tell you, it's not Artie Burns.
Tell you what, mate. This guy, try and guess this guy for me right now. He had 6 TDs in his career, interception return. He picked off, I think the Bengals like a few times too, and he had the longest celebration in Steelers history with Joey Porter on the sidelines when he took it back to the house. The longest one ever. It went on for about a minute and a half, and they got flagged. You know who that is?
Yeah. What's his face?
The longest celebration ever. He broke my
Um,
favorite. He's up there. He's up there.
um, 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 um,
It's in the chat.
Willie Gay, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
big
yeah.
Willie Gay.
Sorry, I was pulling up the list. I'm hiding the live chat because I don't want I'm
okay.
not letting people get I don't want to
Yeah,
guess stuff. But yeah, it is Willie Gay. You talk about Willie Gay all the time. Yeah,
if I think back to that, going over Eichtel, I think he'd be up there because I just like he had so much energy and he really did make a difference too on the team. And he was a guy that no one really cared for, and he made those big plays. And it was super fun to watch when I think he picked off like Carson Palmer or someone, or was it the first play of the game?
Yeah, I remember
His
that
friend
one.
of the house, and then
I remember that one. I remember
and
that one.
that celebration is probably one of the funniest things in Steelers history. Goes down, he's like walking like this, and then he does the arm thing, and then Porter's there, and the camera goes back, and they're still doing it.
I do feel like he was underrated. Underrated.
Sam Oliver says Brian McFadden. He was solid too. He was a good cornerback.
Yeah, and I think see, cornerback I find hard. I didn't grow like up in the Ron Woodson era, so I don't like everyone talks about him, says he was amazing and he made a bad team good and all the rest of it. So like fine. But like I feel like if I had grown up in the Mel Blount days, this would be a no contest.
True.
So
yours would be Mel Blount because I couldn't think of one. Yeah.
No, it's not. No, it's Ike. It's definitely Ike. It's 100% Ike. But
and he's doing some good things, man, for this team. I think too. He's a really good. He's a natural leader. I got him on Facebook, and he's got like Taylor Talk on a Tuesday, and he just goes off on like motivational speeches every Tuesday. It's amazing. He's always sweaty too. He's always running, just like G'day, Pepper.
Hey, Pepper. You didn't get a hey, Marky D.
I got my sugar. I think that sugar's towards me.
That's you got your little nickname. There we go. All right. So that's safety. That's cornerback. Do you want a flex player? Do you want another player?
Flex player on defense. Another favorite. I'm going to try and pick yours.
You got to pick Farrier. Farrier.
For like a flex. Yeah. I'm just trying to think of someone else though too. Yeah, he was good, wasn't he? 51 back there. I do like the middle linebacker position because they really controlled and they can thump people. So yeah, he'd be up there. But I'm trying to think of yours. That's the hardest thing.
Well, I'm gonna go Woodley because of how much I love TJ. Right, like.
But you've already said Woodley, man. You can't give him twice.
No. My outside linebacker I said was TJ, but I said it's a hard. I said that they're closer than what most people think they are. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I'd say probably Farrier's up there for me. He's definitely like a Pittsburgh Steeler through and through. And that was a great trade when they got him. And I didn't even know when I was watching when I was younger. I had no idea that they even traded him because I didn't know.
But I do like I've got a Mean Joe Green helmet behind me. But I don't feel like I'm qualified to say that because I wasn't alive when he was playing. But everything I've seen of Mean Joe Green, and I watched a lot of his tape. And then I think Levon Kirkland's someone that's underrated. As generally as a Steeler, like I think he just doesn't get just generally. I only bring him up because it reminded me of it there.
Okay, I'm gonna go back to the. I'm gonna try and find one more player on like the 2004 team and see what sticks out to me on defense. Who do we have on defense?
Oh, Big Snack. It's got to be Big Snack for you, man.
Yeah, he's there. I would say probably Aaron Smith's up there too.
Big Snack's a good. Well, I was going to say I think Aaron Smith gets underrated as well, but
and even Joey Porter, even Joey Peasy, mate, even Joey Porter was just so as a young bloke watching the team, seeing him fire up was pretty fun to watch. 55, they shot me in Denver, that kind of stuff.
I loved it when he was playing. I feel different about it now.
Why's that?
I feel like. How do I put this? Yeah, my dog just barked in the room. He's like, "Go on, prove it." How do I put this? There's been rah-rah, and I know sometimes that's needed, and someone's got to play that role. But you're rah-rah on a defense that was already really, really good, and I think the best Steelers on defense have always been quietly spoken. Like, I don't think you
Yeah,
have to. Like,
But he backed it up though. He backed up his talk.
He did. And that's why I don't. That's why I'm saying it wasn't silly or stupid. I'm not going to criticize that. I'm just saying I don't look back on it and go, "Oh my god, he was like a god on the field." Like, you know what I mean? Like, I think differently about it now, which is why I find the whole Joey Porter to the Steelers at 17 thing really annoying, because I'm like, if you looked at this guy, if his name was, I'm not going to say Steve Smith because he's like Steve Smith, my receiver son, but if his name was like, Billy McDonald, and you looked at him as a prospect, you'd be sitting there and going, a little bit, like maybe not. And that's the thing that I find.
Shout out to Billy McDonald. Sorry, mate.
All right. Special teamer.
Well, I tell you what. I think
it's got to be Gary Anderson, because God knows no one can use a number 1 jersey.
Nah,
I'm not going to get into the jersey number narrative.
You want me to say Christian Kuntz because of the name's funny and I'm gonna have that jersey, but I'd probably say for me, and I'm so glad we have him because I'm allowed to say that name, Kuntz online. Don't cancel
say Tyler Matakevich.
He was good for us, but I kind of like the Wizard, man. I kind of like Chris Boswell. I know I didn't let you guess, but that's who I like. I think Teamer last 10 years, his percentage is 88%. I think he's been up there. He snagged a beautiful lady somehow too. Can't say that, Devil. Sick Kuntz. So yeah, I'd probably say like Chris Boswell, man, because he's winning on the field and off the field. His wife's like 15 out of 10. She's crazy, man. So shout out to Chris. Chris doing real well. They keep calling him the Wizard, man.
I didn't notice when he got engaged. Like, that's some serious bling that he bought her. Like, that's a
well, you got to keep her. I'm just like, man, he's kicking field goals and sits half the game, gets to watch the game on the bench, and has a beautiful wife. What a better life than that?
Yeah, but also he got nailed 2 years ago. Absolutely nailed.
He did. Where was the penalty?
And he took it like a champion. Like,
where
he took
was
that thing
honestly,
like a champion?
Where was the penalty? There was no penalty for that.
Like,
he got absolutely knocked out and concussed, and there was no.
It is hard.
Sam calls him Boss Dude. Yeah, he's got so many names. I call him the Wizard, the Wizard of Oz, the Wizard of Oz.
Yeah.
Wizard. So the Wizard wins it. I love the Wizard.
Well, we like it because of Oz there. Like,
yeah. But let me try and guess yours. Now, are you thinking about it now?
No, I kind of know.
Is it like
what I was going to say was, it's kind of funny though, because remember, Brad Wing is an Aussie punter. No, I'm just saying, but he's the first Australian to throw a touchdown in the NFL. I'm just saying.
I'd fight Brad Wing.
I'm not saying he's my favorite. I'm just saying,
I don't like him.
You know what? At least we're not bandwagoners that jump on.
I can't stand Brad Wing. I hate him. He was the most egotistical punter in our history of all punters.
But he plays for your favorite XFL team, the San Antonio Brahmas.
He's the Brahmas. I don't care. Sorry, Brad Wing. But when I was watching him play, and the Australian media will talk about him.
I'm just revving you up.
Brad Wing, I'd much rather a calm Jordan Berry than a Brad Wing. Ugh.
I'm just revving you up. It's just good times.
Is that going to be your favorite? Was it?
No,
Mr. Wing. He's probably a nice bloke, but I just found he's just too ego. It's Boswell too. Okay.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Well, yeah.
From Wing to Boswell.
But I do appreciate what you said earlier about Hayward Bay and returns and stuff like that. So, that is an interesting situation.
Who else would you have there on the special teams, like a tackler or a returner who you think's like, up there as like one of the favorite Steelers?
No, I'll just go AB as a returner.
Yeah, it's pretty.
Because he didn't return when he went psycho. Notice that? Like,
well, he did run over a Brown and kicked him in the face. So that was interesting. I saw the video the other day, and the comments were like, he could have went left. He could have cut left and run to the end zone. And he went, nah, I'm just going to go hit you in the head.
I kind of like that.
Like, I think Brown's up there for a lot of things, but he just went nuts. He just went absolutely. It's like a whole new person. Money
This
changed
was a
him.
fun
Fame.
show. I enjoyed this show. This was a good show.
Yeah, we should do it again. We'll just scrap all our answers, forget what we said, and we'll start again tomorrow. All right? I can't believe you said Brad
we
Wing.
could do? We could do. No, but you didn't let me finish. What I was saying was, at least we wouldn't say Brad Wing. You know,
Okay.
That was my point. And
the fact you brought him up is still is a disservice. I think he played.
Oh no, I didn't bring him up because the first Australian to throw a touchdown in the NFL. Fun fact.
Was he really the first Australian to ever do that?
Yes.
And you know he's going to hold that to his grave until all his friends.
But he's not the first Australian punter to friggin' slam someone, and that was the punter for the Cardinals. The last name was it Ben Graham? Is that his name?
Oh yeah, he was too.
I love that. I love that when all the Americans went nuts about that, and I'm like, the guy played like Aussie rules, and I'm not that I think that that's the type of sport, but he was like 6'5" and like. He's a big guy. Like, yeah, he slams someone.
Okay.
Like, he should be able to tackle someone.
I want to premise the fact, though. Let's say...
Actually, that's good from Daredevil because he's a top 3 wide receiver for me on the Steelers.
Yeah, he was good too.
So that's a good... That's actually, you know what, Daredevil? That's probably my flex offensive guy. Yeah, I'll take that.
Yeah. Have you noticed in Australian media with the NFL, they just have washed up stars like Ben Graham and those dudes...
Always,
Channel 7 for the last 30 years.
Who's that like running guy that played like 5th string running back from the San Francisco 49ers that they have on there? Remember when Jaron Hayne tried to go over there? They had it. Oh yeah. They've got a guy they always interview in the Australian media who did nothing.
There's quite a few in Australian media. They have like washed up players from 20 years ago talking about the game, and it's not really relevant.
And they sound like they go on like they know everything.
Yeah, I don't know what America would do for you guys. It'd be like maybe a third string, I don't know, hockey team or college team or someone you'd have on your program. It's like they're trying to be relevant in the NFL, but they're nonsensical. It's just annoying. Ben Graham's there, talks football all the time, and it's like, mate, you're relevant.
The guy who shit me that did that. Who shipped me off was Sav Rocker, who played for the Philadelphia Eagles.
That's another one. Yeah, it's like that. It's like Brian Brown. It's like Dan Orlovsky. It's like those kind of dudes, but in Australian media.
It's exactly. And these guys are like I want to find this guy who.
Yeah, Sav Rocker's the one, dude. He's up there too. He's really annoying.
Yeah, but there was a running back, and what's his name? He's always in there on Fox Sports. It's like, Jack all. Like some of the stuff he says, I'm like, oh my God, it's embarrassing.
Yeah, and because they were in the game for 2 or 3 seasons or whatever, or they were in training camp, it's pretty annoying. I think some of these blokes. There's one bloke on there on 7 Mate that has no connection to the teams at all, and they're just pushing off talking points rather than actual knowledge about any team. Do you remember who he played for?
Which guy?
The running back.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he played. I think he played for the 49ers and the Eagles. But he didn't play. He was a nobody.
All I'm getting is Hayne train. I don't get nothing else.
I know. It's not. It's also hard because now, Jared Hayne,
Well, he's in big trouble, mate. He's in jail.
Well, the guy has claims in America still against him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Haynes and that's why I didn't like the Haynes stuff too when it first came out in Australia. They were all hyping him up, and I wish there was a bet on tab that said on the gambling website that said that Jared Hayne would never score a touchdown. I would have made $1 million.
I said it. I remember I went to
America
in 2014, and everyone was talking about Jared Hayne, and I'm like, he's going to be nothing.
He came, I think it was 4 yards away from one, but he came, 4 yards away from one, but still he never had one. And the betting market was like, when will Jared Hayne score one against this team?
I remember that, and he kept betting that was.
I told my family and friends, I said he'll never.
Oh, there you go. It's Colin Scotts. This is the guy.
Oh, hang on,
the guy that annoys me. It's Colin Scotts.
He was a running back.
Yeah, he played.
Oh, that guy.
No, he didn't play running back.
I know that guy. Yeah, he looks like a.
No, I played. I don't know. He went on about running back to the point you thought it was. You know the guy I'm talking about. He's always in there, and he says the dumbest stuff.
Yes.
The dumbest stuff.
He played defensive tackle. College,
I don't know.
Hawaii.
I tune out. Like I listen. You hear him say one thing, you're like, you don't know what you're talking
He
about.
played for the St. Louis Cardinals in 1987 and 1988, and that's who represents. That's how bad football is in Australia.
He played 3 games. Well, look, he started 3 games and had 2 sacks. Okay.
Yeah, but why is he representing? We should be representing Channel 7, talking about this podcast, not Colin Scott, who played in 1988. That's
what my favorite. You
know,
like bring up Dan Orlovsky. Remember that one a couple of years ago when he was criticizing, or it might have been a year ago now, criticizing those guys, and then they said, yeah, but at least we didn't run out the back of the end. So I love that. His face on air, like he's like, yeah. I either go and I respond to this, like his face started to fall and I respond, or I hold my nerves so that I don't lose my like TV spot. It was so good.
He can talk, but he couldn't play. He didn't.
Yeah, David Carr's a horrible quarterback.
Yeah,
like, so they had him on. I had a clip come up on YouTube yesterday, so it must have been on the previous day. It must have been the US's Wednesday night, Thursday night, and they were talking on NFL Network about Kenny Pickett and making a jump, and David Carr was going on about how he progressed so much in season 2, and like how he felt more comfortable with all this stuff. I'm like, don't even. Just don't do that. It's actually embarrassing, mate. Do not do that. Like,
did you read what J Devil said?
What did he say?
Did you? I wasn't sorry. I wasn't laughing at you. I was laughing at J Devil. Did you read what he said?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Oh, sorry. I tuned out what you were saying. I just saw what Brian Brown said. He said
J Devil. David Carr that was going on about as if he's the world's best cook. Yeah.
Funny, man. That's funny. J Devil.
Do you know actually what happened? We criticized Kenny Pickett, right, for the 7 touchdowns, 9 interceptions.
Mm-hmm.
David Carr, year 1, 9 TDs, 15 interceptions. Year 2, got 9 TDs, 13 interceptions. Year 3, 16 TDs, 14 interceptions. Year 4, 14 TDs, 11 interceptions. Year 5, 11 TDs, 12 interceptions, right? This is playing 16 games, except for 2003, where he only played 11 because he was getting smashed and sacked all the time. 2007, his 6th year in the league, he had 3 TDs in 4 starts for 5 interceptions.
Did you know that Dan Orlovsky, guess how many TDs he threw in his career?
I'd say 20.
15. And that bloke's giving advice on quarterbacks in the league. Come on, man. There must be a joke. ESPN must be having a joke, having a laugh with this.
Yeah. You know? So in 2008, the second year is him starting, 3-year gap. He had 8 TDs. So in 7 starts, he had 8 TDs, 8 interceptions. In 2011, he had 6 TDs, 4 interceptions in 5 starts. Oh my God.
Yeah, as a starting record, he's 2-10 starting record. Like,
but you know what? Well, you and I haven't played in the NFL. What can we say?
We're pretty close to beating his record, though.
We're 0-0. We're like, some years David Carr's in the minors.
We're 3 games away from being better as a starter than Dan Orlovsky. Come on. He's got 2 wins as a starter. If we started on the team, we'd have a chance. If you started all season, I would take you winning 3 games than Orlovsky. Oh man, easy.
Well, I wouldn't run out the back of the end zone, so that'd be a start.
Yeah, that's such a funny clip. That's
his quarterback rating for David Carr was a 62 in his rookie year, a 69 in his second year. It never broke 84 in any season where he started more than 5 games. That's nuts, man. That's just poor.
They should have like a criteria. If you're going to be a host, you have to have actual good stats.
You have to have done something.
Yeah. You know.
Meanwhile, Ryan.
Oh man.
Well, that's going to wrap up this Easter hour special of Steelers touchdown.
Wait, that was so funny. That was a good time. It was a great time. Hope you guys all enjoyed it. It was a good time. It's good to once in a while not, I think, cover the team as much as we do with a lot of stuff. It's good to look back.
Yeah, and I think like ultimately, everything's going to be in hyperdrive from Monday onwards because we're going to be 2.5 weeks away from the draft. I will preview that over the course of the next week or two. I'll be launching my, top 75 picks or prospects for the Steelers for everyone as well. We're going to break through that on some of the War Rooms shows. So that looking forward to that. Some player profiles. Mark and D and I will probably do a couple more mocks. If you missed our mock earlier in the week, go catch that. We did some sort of interesting picks there. So yeah, it'll be kind of an interesting sort of next couple of weeks we go through. But you're right, Mark. Sometimes it's nice to sit back as a fan and just have a chat and reminisce about some of the players. So and Sam Oliver says, draft, can't wait. Ooh, yeah, nice Mustang in the picture there, man.
And no, we've got some good funny moments in there too, which was awesome to see. And yeah, it is fun to look back to the players that because all my stuff comes from 2004, 2008, But we also might be going live too. I think we might be going live for the draft on this channel.
Yeah, 100%, man. Yeah.
So I'll be doing it as well. We might be dual casting on Steel.
Yeah, Mark and I are looking at some playing the multiverse of Steelers draft YouTube.
We'll figure it out. So that's going to be our lunchtime, right?
On the Friday on the 28th.
Yeah. It should be exciting though, because I know when the board starts to fall, your mind's going to go in like crazy to think of who's going to go next, stuff like that.
That's what I mean. So that's why, like, when we do stream live for everyone too, like, it's going to be a really good show because I'm going to be really like I love every bit of the draft. I'm such a draft nerd that there are some years when I go back and rewatch the draft after it is over to think about like what actually happened.
Really?
Yeah, it's a bit sad. I kind of the 5th, 6th, and 7th round. I kind of like skimmed through that. But
do you do a full mock 1 to 32 for the first round and see what you got right?
Sometimes I was saying to you off air this week that I did a show. I started picking for one. I picked one team in every division, and I started drafting for them. And then you get to like it's a good test of how much you know the prospects and teams because you get to like round 5 or 6, and it's like becomes really hard. But do you know what it showed me? A lot of people think they know where everyone's going to pick in the draft and all this sort of stuff, and people know where people are going to be picked. Like, I really like last year a guy called Alontae Taylor who got drafted by the Saints, and I thought he was most people had him in the 4th round. I had him as a 3rd rounder. He ended up getting picked at the back end of the 2nd by the Saints, and so I kind of looked at it and went, well, and there were a few other guys like that as well that I had that got picked earlier, and I was like, okay, cool. So how I'm thinking about things works. But when you go and try and pick for multiple teams, you realize not just the players you know, but also like someone's draft board is going to be very different. Like the way you prioritize positions, the way you prioritize players, do you prioritize traits over production? Like these things start to come into play. It's like, it's like that Joey Porter stuff.
That's awesome.
Yes, I sometimes like rewatching the draft. Okay, I just do.
But
in fairness, I'll rewatch it while I'm doing Madden rosters or something like that. So that's the.
Yeah. It is pretty it is fun to the.
You know what I don't really watch? I almost never rewatch the first round. I find that boring.
Really? We've got a live stream now.
Yeah, I said rewatch. Oh,
rewatch.
Yeah. Of course I watch it. No. Just trade. No, but I don't rewatch it.
Okay.
Because there's kind of 30 to 50 players that you think are going to get picked, right? But it's the 2nd to like the 5th round that I find really interesting because you got teams trading, you got teams picking, you got teams like finding depth, getting new people. They might draft someone you didn't expect, like a Freeman scenario. Like one of my favorite bets that I put on the draft ever was Javon Holland as the first safety off the board in round 2. Was it the 2021 draft? I think it was. And everyone had Trayvon Morrig as the top safety, and he went as the 3rd after Richie Grant went to Atlanta out of UCF. So I just there's stuff like that I like, sort of looking at where teams' needs are and stuff like that, and that's why I think I'll be really interested to see if the Steelers keep 32 or move back a couple of spots, because I think at 32, unless there's someone sitting there that they super liked that they thought was going to get picked in the first round that slipped, I don't know why they wouldn't trade back like 1 to 7 or 8 spots and get extra third rounders or an extra second. So
I agree, mate.
Anyway.
I like the second day because it goes really fast, and it's like you see a lot of highlights.
That's
like,
what I mean. Yeah, that's why day two's the good one. So, and also on day 2, it's like if teams haven't filled a need, it's like, ooh, we're really going to take a gamble on on day 3. But this is also like a lot of Steelers fans don't like ignore this part. The Steelers pick at 120 and they don't pick again until 230.
It's a big gap.
That's a big gap, right? And we remember they had a big gap of about, I think it was like 80, 85 spots when they traded up back in to get Loudermilk. They're going to find a way to get back into the draft, whether it's through some sort of trade. They're not going to allow a space of 100 picks. That does not make any sense. There's too many prospects and too many needs where this team could get cheaper or get better. So that's going to be really interesting. But with that is going to wrap up this week's Steelers Touch Down Under, boys. On Steelers Touch Down Under, as always, you can find our audio on Steelers TDU on Apple, Anchor, and Spotify. And also, if you are not a subscriber and you do like our stuff, hit subscribe, hit the like button if you like the show and you are subscribed. And you can hit the bell icon too, and you get all the notifications, even if YouTube likes to put it out a minute after we start our live shows. But with that, as always, Mikey D.
Go Steelers. Here we go.